guys, Bobby Roast Beef here, another episode of Jigs and Bigs. We got ourselves a good one this week. We got a bunch of calls this week in the live well. We're going to talk about some behind-the-scenes financial shit that's going on with the government and our resources as outdoorsmen. What's going on there? There's some questions that came in about it. We're going to go ahead and talk about at least our individual positions on the point, and it should be pretty good. Have you noticed this year that it really does pay to slow down and fish, but maybe you kind of hate your life doing it? Well, we're going to talk in this week's Just the Tip about some ways to make your life suck less when the fish are straight up telling you they want it slow and easy. And we're going to break down by region, too. It should be really good. Got an FTG this week that's an absolute fantastic specimen right there. I think you're really going to love it. All kinds of good stuff to talk about. We actually do have some headlines this week and some information to go over regarding the 300th episode and some feedback regarding our choices for the certified studs that we judged last week. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up right after this. Oh my God. So we got some stuff to talk about this week, Joe. How are you, first and foremost? How are things?
I'm doing good, man. Good? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I mean, stark contrast to how we recorded last week. It's first thing in the morning. I literally just rolled out of bed. Like, it was the trifecta last night. I worked my trivia night. I came home and I went to bed. My oldest daughter had spent the night here, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring Ace to school, so you can sleep in." I was like, "Holy shit, really? This is great." Loaded up a little extra edible and has slept like a baby. So yeah, I was pretty good. My wife was out cold too when I got home. She was just donezo. She had a day. We have some shit to talk about.
Okay.
I texted you last night and I told you I have some stuff to talk about, like married people shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. This is magic. Okay,
I'm excited to hear about it.
Why don't we'll do it in our week reviews.
Okay.
Before we get into this, there is one thing I do want to mention, and you know, we used to have a spot that would run every single week, kind of promoting this, and obviously, like, folks know that this exists, but some of you out there that aren't aware, Jigs and Bigs is a weekly fishing podcast. Myself and Joe Brown, we gather here and we record a sort of like an entertainment based talk show that is fishy adjacent in every single way possible. But we like to engage with folks that consume the content and that are part of the community. And we try and do that. One of the ways we try to make that as easy as possible is with something called a hotline. And our hotline, you can reach us either with a voicemail or a text. You can text us there as well. And that works great. The number is 413-324-8519. And this is when you hear the live well segments and all that. Like, those are voicemails from there. And we've had some in the past, a couple where people would just text it into us, which is great. That hotline is going to become a very hot, you want to save that number in your phone is what I'm getting at, really, because Joe and I did a little bit of talking after we went through the certified stud list of good stuff. And we're like, this is kind of cool, but maybe we should just make it for the listeners in general. How could we do that? So we're going to start taking those certified stud submissions via text message. And we're going to run it for a couple of months, get a good, amount of fish to go and judge, and no repeats. So if you submit, even to the Instagram one, if you've already submitted one there, it will automatically boot it from that first filter. So no repeats, but 413-324-8519, any fish species, basically any catch that you're like stoked on, text it to us. Make sure in the message to include your name and also like any other information about the catch. That's pretty cool too. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be size or length or weight or anything like that. But if you have like some details, we'll talk about that when we go through and judge, because dude, Joe, I'm telling you, people fucking like that segment.
That's good.
They really, really did. And I'm like, I think that's the way to do it right there. I think that. And actually, Zek says something really good right here. He goes, if you get a busy signal on the hotline, wait a minute or two and try again. It's probably Eli. It's quite possible. It's quite possible. Although the good news is that when you're texting these photos, they'll go right in. It's not a problem. What do we got here? Picking up an A-rig soon, Mike Hansen says. Oh, yeah. Eli says, I thought the A-rig was going to be in the box, and it wasn't. As an angler, I was pissed. I wanted it to be. I wanted it, but as a person that works with Dark Horse Tackle, I love the move of separating the box and the pack more. I got a pack this month, and I like the upgrades that happened with that A-rig. The split rings are gone. The clips are on. And it is nice. If you want to adjust, no pliers needed, it is nice. I threw it probably to a fault on Saturday. So we'll talk about our weeks. Did you fish this week, Joe? Did you do any kind of fishing stuff?
No, dude, no fit. Dude, I told you a little bit. Me and my oldest were so freaking sick this week.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my goodness, dude. Like it was just out of nowhere. Like one of those mornings you just wake up and you're like, I don't feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, dude, it hit me for like 3 days. And like I took it. I went to work one of the days. I was like, I got to go home. Like, I just got to try to sleep this off. But yeah, it was just my oldest and I, and both it like literally like the same day, and like it stopped the same day. Like it was both the same exact. But yeah, so I had that. But no fishing, man. The boat's probably gonna get put away this week. Already talked to the storage and everything, so I just gotta get everything out. It's a busy week for me, man. I'm hosting Thanksgiving, which is something I never do.
Oh my God.
I don't really like people that much.
Who talked you into that, or is it like your turn?
No, so it's a very small. It's just one of my sisters, her husband, and they just had the baby, so I didn't want them to have to deal with it at their house, and then it's just my dad, and then my family. So I was like, all right, let's just do it. Do it at my house. It's going to be in my family's good in the aspect of like they'll chew and screw. So like they won't, it's not like they're going to hang around for all day. You know what I mean? My sister's got the new baby, so they're not going to want to stick around they haven't really taken her. This is going to be the first time like really taking her out somewhere.
Oh, wow.
And my dad will eat and just leave pretty much. But like outside of that, But I took a few days off this week. That's why we're able to record this morning. Yep. But so I'm in the middle of. It was one of those things where like Meg and I had a couple drinks. I've told these stories so many times in this show. Yeah. Meg and I had a couple drinks. We didn't end up at Tractor Supply with a bunch of chickens, which is good.
That's good.
But we ended up at Home Depot.
Fair.
And now I'm pretty much redoing the entire inside of my house.
Oh. Gotcha.
So I have to. So now I want to get this done before Thursday, before we have the Thanksgiving. So the island countertop is done. Got that in. So now I just got to go pick up the actual the standard the regular countertops. I gotta go pick those up today. My dad and I are gonna install those tomorrow. Gotta like drop in a new sink and faucet. Jeez. I got a guy coming to measure the house for new floors this week or next week. So it's just kind of that's what we do, dude. You and I kind of talked to this in private the other day on text. Like her and I just like fucking always just jump into the deep end without floaties, dude.
Man. That's just sometimes that's how it is. Oh.
But so like we it's much needed. My house was built in 2002. Everything's pretty much original, and it was just kind of, dude, like all those years of the dogs beat up. Like my hardwood floors have gotten trashed. Dude. Like dogs like it's just time, and I would love to put the money I have saved aside for this stuff to something like that I should not get. Yep. Like I would love to buy something crazy, but no, putting it into the house, dude.
That goes, drinking leads to remodeling. That's one way to get folks to stop drinking. That's true.
Oh, dude.
That's
Zach,
true.
I get it, dude. Like, yeah. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Right after the show, I got to run and get countertops and backsplashes. And here's the thing, folks, listening to the show.
Yep.
I am not the most mechanically inclined person when it comes to this stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Same.
So it's like,
yeah.
So I'm the one who's like, I get it done. Like I have tons of tools. I get projects done, but I have to like teach myself. So it's going to be, luckily my dad's helping me, but it's like putting in countertops is like turned into me. Like, I'm like, babe, I got this. And then she goes down into the office to work and I'm fucking sweating, watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Yeah, no, dude, that's kind of my, that was kind of my week. Oh, no, well, I had a wedding yesterday.
Yes.
I went to a wedding.
Yep.
Dude, it was, you know what? It was, I had a blast. It was Meg's family. She has, it's actually kind of funny. So the wedding is in Rhode Island. I can't remember the Crystal Lake Country Club.
Oh,
you familiar with it?
Yeah, I am actually.
Okay. Yeah, so I figured if anyone was, it would be you. So that's where we had it, dude. It was Meg's cousin. He's a great kid. His wife, you know, beautiful bride last night. Thing that threw me off, Bobby, it was an outdoor wedding or outdoor ceremony.
Yeah.
In November, dude, it was like 35 degrees. I was like, and it's like these wooden benches that you sit on for the ceremony. My ass cheeks were numb after 5 minutes because I was so fucking cold.
Yep.
I got Meg up against me, dude. She felt like one of those like little chihuahuas, dude, that just sit there. She's just shivering.
Oh yeah, man.
The whole time.
Yeah.
And it was not a quick ceremony. Like it was like 40 minutes of just sitting in the cold. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude, it was supposed to start at 4, started at like 4:10. And went like, dude, it was like dark out. Like I felt bad for like the photographers, you know what I mean? And but it, dude, awesome. I mean, outside of it being outside, or it was great ceremony. Then we moved over to the country club and did the reception. The reception was a blast, dude. We had it's funny because I'm at the table with Meg's family with her cousins.
Yep.
And the great kids, dude. Like, and this is just like cousins on like one of her sides. These are the ones that we actually like kind of interact with.
Yep.
So let me tell you about this. These are the conversations I'm trying to keep up with, Bobby.
Oh, all right.
So
God.
One of her cousins he's like 26, just became a lawyer.
Okay.
Her other cousin is a doctor of like bioengineering scientist, right?
Okay. Yep.
His wife is a surgeon. And then they have like so they kind of have like an adoptive son who Danny, we call him. He's the funniest case from China. Okay. So like back in the day, he was like a foreign exchange, like stayed with them and like basically became one of the family.
Yep.
But he's also a doctor. So dude, I'm sitting there trying to like keep up with their conversations, trying to and I'm drinking.
Yep.
I'm drinking. You know what I mean? So like it was like, dude, I felt like Rain Man with all like the things in front of my head, like trying to think of like all the big words I know, like I might know and stuff. Like,
and you're looking at him and you're like,
dude,
filibuster.
Yeah, dude. And like I'm using all these big words like not in the right context and stuff. But dude, it's funny because like but they're not like big drinkers, dude. I got them up like doing like tequila shots and oh yeah, it was her aunt who's like her aunt absolutely loves me because I like kind of get her. She's very like hoity-toity, like but just like a sweet soul, and I got her to do a tequila shot last night, and she's like, oh, it was a blast, dude. But it was a great set. The reception was awesome. We had an absolute blast until the time that Sunday evening, dude. We had it's tough to find a sitter on a Sunday evening.
Tough.
So like we had a sitter till 9, so we like drank right up until the minute and had a good time right up until the minute we had to leave. But yeah, so that was the wedding. Had a blast, dude. Like I love that side of her family. We get along great. I'm actually looking forward to doing a Christmas with them. But,
that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, dude. It was that was my Sunday. Again, had a blast. I'm not like it's weird. I'm not a huge wedding guy, but like I mean, you know how it is for some people. Like, as soon as I get 1 or 2 drinks in me, I'm like, this is the best.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Dude, I'm on the dance floor looking like a total idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as I get 2 drinks in me, dude, I'm like, it was an open bar up until the announcements of the wedding party. And then after that, dude, I'm like, oh God, just buying shots. Like they were like the bartender. I was like, do you guys do shots? And they're like, ugh. They're like, we can. I was like, perfect. I was like, dude, I like do the wave and like her whole like side of the family, like that whole side of the family, like 2 tables are coming up, and the bartender just looking at me like,
it's
are you
Sunday and it's gonna be a problem
right now, dude? And they put them. So they take out the shot glasses. They're like those. Like in my head, I'm like, all right, they're gonna bring out like some like crystal shot glasses. No, dude, you know when you like get takeout and they give you like a side of ketchup?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In the little plastic container.
Yeah,
that's what we were doing shots.
Hey, it's functional. It's fine. Nice golf course, huh? Yeah, nice country club.
Which is crazy because like the facility, it was a beautiful room that they had it in. But dude, that was my week. Unfortunately, this is kind of where, but it's going to be different. But this is kind of where my fishing stuff kind of slows down. I do have some YouTube videos in the pipeline. It's just getting ready to record them. I have a couple of cool topics coming up just to talk about, kind of like talking head, just some hands-on stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, kind of getting back in that game after the thumb debacle and all that bullshit.
Sure.
I mean, Bobby's been killing it, everybody. If you guys aren't watching the Jigs and Bigs YouTubes, like, and it's funny, like I sent him a photo like last week. I was like making kids at work watch his YouTube.
That was awesome. I was like, yes, force me
and they were loving it, dude. They're sitting there watching it like these dudes at work. But
that's awesome.
But yeah, so like outside of that, man, just it's it's a sad time of year where it unfortunately like slows down, but
slow, yeah.
I'm getting Bobby out on the ice this year. I hate it just as much as anyone.
Yeah.
But my kids love it. And I think Bobby and I out there together could get some pretty good, funny content because both of us are probably going to be miserable as we do it.
I agree. And it's funny, speaking of ice fishing, like there's folks that have been reaching out asking about like, hey, is it possible we're going to be able to do any fishing when we come up to, the 300th episode? And I was like,
it's January.
And I'm like, open water, probably not. Like locally in Springfield, probably not. And I'm like,
how sick would it be to have a next day like after party on the ice, dude?
That's what I was thinking. But if it does get cold enough, and it's one of those things where, there's safe ice, like for sure, I would feel like an absolute piece of shit bringing out like 20 people, and like having it be sketchy. Oh, like I wouldn't go if it was sketchy.
We'll just do what Bogley did that year. I went out with him, dude.
Yeah.
Where he's wearing his PFD on the ice.
Yeah, Mike says here, he goes, me to Bobby hitting the ice with me. Yeah, I'm game. We had a long conversation. Mike and I fished actually on Saturday. We'll get to that, but I'm not against it. I'm against buying the gear and carrying it all the way out there. Like I'm the guy who would be like, yeah, just digging one hole and fucking jigging is cool. So I don't have to drag all the parts. But like I want to cook and all that shit and all that. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to put a sled together.
We're gonna once we start to see that ice kind of sheet over, Bobby, we're gonna come up. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna
put a plan together.
It's whether we have a get together with some of the listeners, just you and I, just invite a few people, get some tip ups out, and just friggin' drink some whiskey, sip some or some warm cider, whatever.
Yep.
Cook some food and just have a good time.
No, I love that. That's what Mike says. He goes, I got the gear, you bring the beer. Done deal. Oh, this week was nuts. I got a DM today from somebody actually, I got a couple of pieces of correspondence that came in from people First off, Jackson commented on one of my videos. and the video that it was us judging the fish. He was like, those fish were awesome. Yeah. So I was like, that is my highest engaged, like for the amount of views that it has and the number of comments and likes and stuff, that is the highest amount of engagement any of my videos has ever had. It is crazy. So thank you guys for checking it out. I think that the certified stud thing is something we have to lean into. I think
100%.
that was
dude,
so
100%.
fun to go through. And I think that if we come up with just a loose timeline, I think the text move is actually going to be even better.
I think it'll be way easier,
Yeah,
way easier and more streamlined. You know what I mean? Because you could just like forward to me and then take, because it's like Instagram. It's kind of tough to sort and like, you know, and and unfortunately, like shit can get lost in the sauce and whatnot.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And then like, you know, you get busy with stuff, but you get these, you know, I think it'll be a good thing, but people really responded very well to it, you know, and that was really, really good. So I'm stoked on that. That was cool. But the other thing is I got a text or I got a DM from Nadine Barley. And she goes,
Mom.
She says, she goes, "Hi, Bobby. We all respect our veterans, especially Joe, American Vet Fishing Brown." And then she asked if I could mention a local Wreaths Across America event that's coming up. And she goes, it's happening on December 13th. That is National Wreaths Across America Day. She says, we'll be placing wreaths on all veterans' graves at the same time the wreaths are laid at Arlington National Cemetery. I was like, that's pretty freaking cool. So she sent me some information. Wreaths Across America. It's happening on December 13th of this year at noon. And it's you can remember and honor a West Brookfield veteran. Sponsor a wreath today to be placed on a veteran's grave this December in West Brookfield. There is a QR code, and what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take this QR code and I'm going to put it on the artwork for this. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just make this the artwork for this episode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome.
if you guys are in your car or whatever and you're listening to Jigs and Bigs and it shows up there, you can scan that QR code and go and sponsor and get more information about it, everything. I think it's very, very cool. Scan the QR code to make a donation online or take an order form. And there's a couple of phone numbers here. If you want more information, you can call Nadine at 774 200. Hold on, let me zoom in. My eyes are getting bad. Yeah, 774-200-3396 or call Joanne Dorman at 508-867-2524. So I was like, I haven't heard from Nadine in forever. I thought she kind of blacklisted us after Sean was just like, who the fuck is on the goddamn phone? Whatever it was.
So for all you guys out there, Nadine is like one of the sweetest women I've ever met in my life. Like she is just such a good soul. Her son Scott, he worked for me at Old Glory Outdoors for quite a long time. He joined the Air Force. He joined the military. Mm-hmm. He's now stationed in not Alaska, in Japan. So he's getting all that nice JDM stuff. Nah, man,
he is. I've seen his
stationed
Instagram
out in Japan and newly married and stuff. So yeah, so it's if you guys can even donate like the smallest amount. West Brookfield's a very small town that does have a lot of veterans that were have been laid to rest. From World War II. Or all. Bobby, West Brookfield's such an old town. Like we have burials from Revolutionary War up. You know what I mean? And they lay wreaths at all of them. It doesn't matter what war they served in. But if you guys can donate a buck, I don't care, for Nadine, and that would be super awesome. It's a super cool program that they run there.
I think that's the whole thing. And it's funny, you mentioned, you're like, oh yeah, even from like the Revolutionary War, people are amazed. Like we take that history for granted when we live here. Like we really do. We think nothing of it, but people are like, wait a minute, hold on. This is an area where like this battle happened or some shit like that. You're like, yeah, duh. It's like a
dude,
piece of shit in
like
New Englanders.
Even outside my property, there's been like crazy, like historic battles. You know what I mean? Whether it's the big one was the King Philip's War, which was
that was massive.
1677, I think, something like that. Well, that was right outside my property. You know what I mean?
Crazy shit.
It's crazy, dude.
The history is insane. Like, it's bananas. And like we do a lot of times we're like, we don't even think about it most of the time. But there are a lot of people who come up here and they're just like, holy fuck.
Yeah, we definitely take it as being residents of here. We definitely take it for granted.
Yeah, for sure we do. But man, it is freaking nuts. It's it was a good week. I got a lot of stuff done. I put out there was that video where we had gone over the certified studs, which was great. I also put out, I recorded a piece of content that you're going to hear a little bit about actually in the FTG. I put out, I've been toying around, I think I mentioned this last episode that my goal is to, especially this winter, and is to pick up some good habits with the podcast and content in general. So whether it's long form stuff, short form stuff, but I'm trying to do more with the podcast platform and YouTube. And like everybody in the world is like, you should just do the podcast on video. And I'm like, I'm telling you, like, it's on YouTube. It's going to get the listens it's going to get. Nobody wants to watch this for 4 hours. Look at the screen, However, there are segments and offshoots that I can put together and post that I think is actually going to be pretty cool. There is one bit of fishy activity I did put together this week. I plan to go out with Binya, with Mike Hansen, and initially I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I was playing around with the idea of going out earlier in the week, and again, like I say it every single year we get to this time of the year, it is hard for me to get motivated to go out, hitch the boat, go hit the water, go do whatever, and it helps a whole lot when I've got somebody to fish with, and I can, then it's on the calendar, and I'm actually this week, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm hoping I can get out with Paul. I'm hoping I can get out with Paul. That would be amazing. He is in chemotherapy right now, and he's like, we're talking, and he goes, he's like, one of the only things this time around is the sensitivity of the cold. So he's like, I don't know. And I was like, let me know when you're up to it. We'll bundle up, and I was like, what we'll do is we'll go to Oxbow. Won't do any long runs or anything like that. Nothing crazy. And we'll go for 2 or 3 hours. Nothing nuts, just for the sake of, I know he misses it. And I'm like, we'll go, we'll send it. So, I got out with Mike on Saturday, and man, I'll tell you, Friday night was weird. I had plugged in the boat to charge, make sure everything was good. I got all my stuff together, and I left a little bit early because I was like, it's fucking dark beer season, dude. It is. Bobby roast beef gets this question often. What I like for styles of beer, and I'm like, I like beer. Like, I'm not one of those folks that leans one particular way. I'm not going to go and drink like a barley wine and then a double IPA in sequence. You know what I mean? But like, I'll set myself up for like a path, and I'll have a couple of these, and I can appreciate them all. One of my favorite beers is from Wormtown. It's a Massachusetts brewery. Comes out this time of year. It's called Blizzard of 78. And right,
very familiar,
right? And so I had. So initially it was Ricky, Thick Bass TV, who he had released a video, a John Boat beer review video with a Lagunitas called Sugar. It used to be called Brown Sugar. And he's like, it's like a 10%er, man. He's like, and it did good because like the flavor's amazing. He's like, the bottle looks good. Crushability killed him. He's like, you don't crush a 10%er. He's like, no, he's like, that's not what it's for. But he's like, it's so good. And I'm like, man, that sounds great. I'm like, I'd like to pop one of those, and that's the thing. When I'm on the boat like that, like I'm going to pop one. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. So
I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. So I head over to like what is the locally owned, like the Walmart of package stores. Like if a craft beer that they make on the planet, you're going to find it there. And I'm like, all right, so it's Table and Vine. I go walking around, and I find the Lagunitas, and I'm like, they had a bunch of other ones, like 3 or 4 different ones, no sugar. So I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? What's the move? And I'm looking around. I get over to like Berkshire Brewing, and I see that there's like a Thanksgiving themed something, and I'm like, oh, I could go that route. And then my eyes catch the case, the 12-pack. of Blizzard of 78. And I was like, fuck that. I'm like, this is my favorite beer on the planet. Like it's in a very elite class. And I'm like, I'm going to grab this. So I grab that and I'm on my way to work. Well, as I'm on my way to fucking work, I saw the craziest shit. I'm coming up. This is actually, I got to back up. This was even before I had gone to the Packy. Yes, the Packy, to pick up my beer and then head to work. This was as I was on my way to the Packy. So where I live, I'm right behind like a hospital, and there's a 4-lane road that goes across that way with lights all over the place. And the traffic gets kind of nuts over there. And there was a dude that got hit by a car on a bike. And so like it just happened. So I was like, I went by, I saw him on the ground. I was like, what the fuck? I fucking called 911. And I'm like, listen, I don't have time to stick around, but like somebody's got to call this in. And so they're like, as I actually went up through the next intersection, I saw lights coming from each side. I was like, okay, that's good. No idea what happened. I did see he was moving, right? No helmet. What are you doing? And then oddly enough, after trivia that night, I was coming back through West Springfield. And I'm coming up this one road, and there's like some kind of construction, like parking lot, like expansion that they're doing. And there's all these barrels along this one side of the road. And there's a cruiser there with lights on, just kind of like chilling.
Yeah.
And there was a dude on a bike comes out right in between one of these, right into me. Like, dude, he was like 2 car lengths in front of me when I saw him. I slammed on my brakes. I was like, not today. Dude behind me slammed on his brakes. I was like, you got to be shitting me. It was just freaking bananas, dude. Freaking bananas. So yeah, it was a little bit nuts. I got home that night, and I get up that morning, and you know the plan. Like when you're fishing this time of year, you don't have to be there at first light, anything like that. And the plan was we were going to go to Barton Cove. That was exactly the plan. I was like, you know, I'm looking at like some topo maps, and I'm like, I really think that if I'm going to find fish, I'm going to find them at the French King Bridge. That's what I was thinking, because I've got really deep water, I've got rocks, I've got other real good structure like close to that area, and not too far up. I've actually got a big flat, so if they're up shallow, we're going to find them. Binya knows we
don't find shit.
In fact, it gets even better because I wanted to get to the launch early, but I wanted to beat Binya by a good amount because I had to rig my A-rig. Because I was planning on, you're going to use that as a primary search bait. I'm like, I want to get this together, have it ready to go. I pull up to the gate, dude. The gate was closed. Barton's was closed. And I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? No signage as to the reason why. I did some looking, and it looks like there's some kind of like a buoy project happening in that marina over there. Like they're doing something. Okay. And it's going to stay closed until next spring. So it's on the website, but like you would never know unless you're just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go and trail this over here. So I'm like, you son of a bitch. So I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? So I go, there's a gas station right over there. I go up there and I grab a coffee, and I call Mike immediately. I was like, don't pull in there.
Gas station, by the way.
It is. Yeah. What is it? Like the mill or some shit like that?
Yeah. Something. Yeah.
It's pretty decent. Like it's decent facility. So I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for Mike, and I'm looking around, and I call when it comes to Connecticut River, I call Topless Timmy Jakes, and I'm like, Timmy, I need some advice. I'm looking at different launches. Should I go south? Because I was like, I feel bad dragging Binya all the way down to Oxbow, you know? And I know that there's a launch like around like the Sunderland area, and I'm like, okay, there's some okay shit there. But if I go down south, I can't get to the French King Bridge. Right. And he recommended I go up north, almost to the New Hampshire line. And launch out of Northfield. And that worked out great. That might be the move that I just kind of rely on because of 2 factors. First off, like right out of there, you get like right to that flat that I was like, oh, that's a good backup plan. But we got down to the French King, you know, now granted, obviously, like I didn't want to gun it the whole way back. We made great time coming back because I was on plane the whole time. But we sent it down there. We got down there. It took us a little while because I was like scoping everything. I basically side scanned the entire thing and was like, this is either desolate or I'm seeing like a rock pile or like a tree that's over here or some stumps.
Right.
And I would find some stuff. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Just to kind of get the knowledge going down there. Plus, we were fucking freezing at this point. And, you know, I mean, I'm talking like full base layers on, full mid layers on, my hoodie, my bibs, my boots, double wool socks, my Reaper jacket as a way to block the wind up top.
Yeah.
Zipped all the way up, a knit cap, sunglasses on, and my fishing gloves that have the top that goes, they're fingerless, but the top comes over for mittens. I'm sitting there the whole time like, my fucking God. The few times we did get on plane, like just to kind of like, I'm like, I know what we're dealing with here. Let's move on. It was crazy. The water was down so low too. I don't want to fuck around. I want to be careful. But once I had a nice track coming back, coming back up, I was like, bye. And it's great. So we have that access. It was awesome. There were a few boats that were launching when we launched. One dude was going out walleye fishing. One dude was launching this really like ornate. It almost looked like it was a wooden hand-carved boat, but not like a canoe. Like this looked like a downsized, like 2 or 3 person, like Viking ship.
Interesting.
It was the craziest shit. I wish I would have thought to take some kind of a picture of it or something to show off, because it was the craziest thing. So we go and we send it. I had a couple of blizzards while I was out there. It was absolutely delicious. We left. The other reason why I fucking love this spot is it's right next to it's right down the road from my favorite convenience store ever. Chaw's.
Okay.
Chaw's is right over the New Hampshire line, and it used to just be like a tobacco shop, but now they've expanded. There's a gas station, the whole 9 yards. First off, it's a really clean facility, a lot like that one that's near Barton's, maybe even a little bit nicer because it's newer. They have like if you want to grab some food, like the selection they have is awesome. But this is that place that's got like a little Asian grocery store inside it, and I'm like, yes. So that night I was planning on making dinner for my daughter and I, and my wife I don't know why she does this. She has this massive like leg piece tattoo on her thigh. Massive, and it was the last session for it, and she signed up to work in a second shift spot at her side hustle, and she's like, I don't know why I did. I'm going to call in sick, and she did. So I was going to make those Thai chili peanut noodles, and my wife, that's not her bag. So I was like, all right, we're gonna put this on the back burner. I'm like, we'll figure out something for dinner. I ended up making those for lunch. My kids love them. I love them. My wife's like, it's too much peanut butter. I'm like,
you're weird.
It is what it is. So we sent it. We fished our asses off. We did everything, but like this time of year, we weren't even finding fish. We found a couple of bait balls, but we weren't even really finding like good marks anywhere where we were looking. Like we were like for sure that is something, like that's a catfish or anything. I did switch over to downscan just to get like, it's nice because you get a little bit of a different color like identifier for different like textures when beam is hitting stuff. So like, there was some stuff, but nothing like crazy. Definitely nothing moving. No follows. So, and we did everything we could. We were searching for bites, couldn't find them. We'd slow down. We'd hug the bottom. Our drop shots that we were throwing had like 6-inch leaders. Like just super, super tiny, right on the bottom. We were throwing in as deep as like, I want to say like 40 or 60 foot. Yeah, about 59, 60 foot of water was about the deepest where we were actually throwing anything. And it was just one of those things where like, we even went up into this little inlet where it just got too shallow to go too far up. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe they're tucked up in here. We'll see what happens. Nothing. But it was fun. We had a good time. I came back home that night, just kind of hung out that night. Sunday, this is where things get fucking stupid. So Sunday, I was debating going back out. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll go to Oxbow or something like that.
Yeah.
It got so cold Sunday morning, Joe. I was like,
It was cold.
I'm not doing shit. I'm like, I am staying home. I'm making some breakfast. I'm going to chill with the family. And, we're going to do what we're going to do. And my wife is like, yeah, I got some errands I got to run. I want to run out and get some groceries and blah, 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 blah. And she is, after Thanksgiving, she's going up to visit her folks and she's going to bring them up some leftovers and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, cool. That sounds awesome. And she's, she goes, I have to run out and get some like aluminum foil like containers. So she's like, you want to run with me to Ocean State? I was like, yeah, let's go. It'll be great. We'll go get coffee, hit the dispo, like, all that shit. And then she's making a batch of, do you like limoncello, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's delicious.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The reason why I had that Everclear was for that.
Gotcha.
It was for that. And she needed like another, like half a bottle, like another 350 milliliters or something like that. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I don't think you're going to find a small bottle. I think you're going to have to buy another big one or like just add more vodka, but cut out the water that you're adding to it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's ultimately what she ended up doing. So we picked up that. She wanted to get some nips, of course, for Black Friday shopping because you can't do Black Friday shopping sober, which is crazy because, like, I think she's just going just for, like, any kind of deals. I think she's actually going more for the community first than actually needing anything. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, there you go. Let's go do that.
It's an experience.
She's homesick today, so I hope she doesn't hear me talking about this because I might get stabbed. So we leave what she called the sketchiest packy in our city. And I don't disagree. It's pretty sketchy. She's like, but if they're going to have Everclear and like, pocketable bottles, it's going to be them. And I was like, right. Okay, let's go. So we get there and we get everything and we're coming back. We're going back out to the car. And I'm like, you going to unlock the doors or what? Because she has a habit, because remote keyless entry, she has a habit of like not handing me the key when I drive her car.
Yeah, I know how that is.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, whatever. So she's got it. The love of my life, this woman, left her key in the car, which is not supposed to lock.
But it did.
And she's like, I was like, well, wait, you got the app on your phone, right? I should back up. The reason why she got this app on her phone was when she bought the car, she got like, I think 2 years of it for free or something like that.
Yeah.
And she barely used it. Like she would use it to start her car every once in a while, shit like that. And she's like, yeah, that's right. Well, she did the same thing. She actually had the key in her bag. This was like just 2-3 weeks ago. Had the key in her bag, put it on the driver's seat, shut the door, and then it locked because there was weight in the seat because of the bag.
Gotcha.
And it locked her out. So she talked to like, roadside assistance, and they're like, you should have the app. That way, if it ever happens, you can go ahead and unlock it. Well, you know what's funny about that? She tried to unlock it, and because the key was inside, it wouldn't do it. I'm like, I've seen my wife swear a lot. I have heard everything come out of her mouth. Nothing really like cancelable or anything like that. Holy shit. I was embarrassed. She was saying, I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? It was just brutal. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to like, keep, because again, like if I push too far any one way, I'm going to take a knife in the throat. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to be very cautious about this. So I explained to her, I was like, hey, how long is it going to be before roadside gets here? And she's like, it looks like about an hour. I was like, why don't we walk down to the other end of this plaza? That's where the Ocean State was. I was like, you got your booze. I'm like, we'll just take a walk down there. We'll get the stuff that you need, whatever. We do that. We come back. Finally, they let us back in. Her mood changed instantly once we got in that car. Instantly. Yep. And I'm like, if there's a good news, because that's the thing. I would have just called a tow truck and been like, yep, we got to get in this car. And she's like, no, I've got roadside assistance. It's included. Well, I won't have to pay for it. I was like, well, at least you're getting your money's worth. I couldn't believe it. And I'm still a little bit afraid. I'm going to go upstairs from the disco dungeon and she might be waiting for me. with something, some type of hand-to-hand combat. It's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's going to be something. But yeah, that was the married shit I want to talk about. I'm like, are you fucking for real? So then I brought her to the dispo and I bought her a new vape and a bunch of edibles, and she was out cold on the couch by 4:30. Out cold.
Okay.
I'm like,
all right.
We've tamed the beast. But yeah, man, it is just crazy. I think I really want to try to get out this week. I don't think I'm going to be able to get out on Saturday because I have plans with my folks for dinner. But I think we're supposed to get a bunch of rain this weekend too.
Yeah,
I think we're supposed to get a bunch of rain this weekend, and I'm not looking to mess around with that. But I've been talking with Paul, and I was like, dude, I'm like, I think maybe because he was talking about maybe Tuesday, and I was like, we should push it to Wednesday if possible. Yeah, I think Wednesday might be the move. So it looks like we're going to get rain overnight Tuesday, and then it's going to get it's actually supposed to get up to 60 on Wednesday.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the nice thing is I can go do drop off Wednesday morning. That's a half day, but she's coming home with her friend that's a senior, so they'll go and do their thing. So I've got the entire afternoon free. My wife is not working that day, so she will be around with the dogs. That will freeze things up. That would be fantastic. So I don't know. We'll figure some shit out. That or Thanksgiving proper. I would have no problem going out on Thanksgiving Day. We have nothing happening that day. Who knows? Who knows though? But yeah, it is. It's getting to be about that time. I gotta figure out how I want to cover the boat this year.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna rely on that cover, to do its thing. Part of me was debating like pulling the trigger on like one of those like carport style setups and just pulling that right over it, and that way it'll at least keep the snow and the rain off of it.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not 100% though, because where I am, I'm right in between two houses. So like when it melts pretty fast because it doesn't get as cold there because there's some cover. But who knows? Why don't we go ahead? We'll bang out this because holy fuck, it's already 10:30. Jesus Christ. Let's go ahead and bang out headlines real quick, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Bobby. So nearly 1,000 fish, including smallmouth bass, were poached from a Missouri stream. Let's talk about it. A small stream in the Ozark foothills of Camden County became the scene of a staggering illegal harvest when a group of individuals were caught removing nearly 1,000 fish in one event. According to the Missouri Department of Conservation and local reporting, conservation agent Justin Emery encountered the individuals in September using cast nets, a method prohibited for sport fish such as smallmouth bass and sunfish. The haul included 14 smallies, 28 red ear sunfish, 237 suckers, and 713 other bait fish. That brings a total to 992 fish removed from the stream in one swoop. In Missouri, the use of a cast or throw net is only legal in certain situations. Under regulation covering live bait, bait fish, and certain non-game species may be taken by trap, dip net, throw net, pole and line, or pole and line. Game fish such as bass, sunfish, etc. must be hooked in the mouth or jaw, making nets illegal for these species. 3 people were cited by MDC agents and later pleaded guilty in the Camden County Court and were penalized for the illegal harvest. A 4th person in the group was not charged because authorities found they were not directly involved in the taking. MDC emphasized that the removal of so many fish from a small stream represents a serious threat to local fish populations. The use of cast nets shows that this was not sport fishing, but wholesale removal of aquatic life. The department reminds the public that fish poaching is illegal and asks anyone who observes suspicious activity to call their 24-hour Operation Game Thief hotline.
Yeah, poaching sucks.
Poaching sucks.
Poaching really, really does suck. And it's like, I don't know, fucks up an entire resource and all kinds of shit.
Oh, yeah, especially in such a small area, small stream.
There is one thing that I did forget to mention is that so Mass DCR is doing something kind of cool this year. They're doing, they're calling it Gratitude After Gravy, and they have a very informative and kind of disgusting social media post that they put out where one of their guys is walking around talking about this program, which is happening on Black Friday, right? The Friday following Thanksgiving. And basically what it is, it's a series of guided and self-guided hikes at a variety of different DCR facilities. And, you know, get together, maybe after the meal, do your whole thing and go ahead and hike and have some fun and maybe go and meet some folks while you're out there and all that stuff. So I just want to go through some of where they are. In Central Mass, Wachusett Reservoir, there's one going on. It's happening. That one is actually on Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon. Up north at Belle Isle Marsh Reservation. That one's happening on Friday the 28th at 10 a.m. Let's see what we got. Harold Parker State Forest. That one's happening Friday at 10 a.m. as well. And the meeting spot for that is park headquarters. In the south part of the state, we're looking at Massasoit State Park. Gratitude After Gravy hike is happening on Friday at 1 p.m., 1 to 3. So that one's kind of nice. You don't have to get up to it super early or anything like that. And then Waquoyet Bay National Estuarine Research Reserve at the Squashnet River Trailhead. That one is also on Friday, November 28th at noon. And then out west, we've got the Great Falls Discovery Center. That's happening Friday, November 28th at 1 p.m. And then this is the one I am probably going to do. Is the Mount Holyoke Range State Park. That's Friday at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Meeting location is the map kiosk outside the Notch Visitor Center. And is there another one? Oh, yeah, here's another one. This is the other one I was considering, too. There's the Mount Greylock State Reservation. That one's on Friday as well. And the meeting location is at the Visitor Center. That one's a 2-mile hike. Yeah, and then there's a bunch of self-guided information. You can go over to the DCR website and get information about that. But I was like, that's pretty cool. You know, I should mention that. So if you're looking to get outside, maybe, you know, do some things. Maybe you don't take a thermos full of gravy and just sip your leftovers. Don't do that. That's what this social piece was all about. I'm like, I don't know about that. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back around. We got just the tip going on. We're going to talk about slowing down when the water temps get cold. It's something you have to do, but how can you not hate your life doing that? We'll try and touch on that and do it in a regional sort of way. Talk about some different regions, ways you can adapt, and all that good stuff. And then we've got an FTG for you. And this episode, we have, I think, 3 different calls into the live wall. Some really fantastic ones. We're going to be right back. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this.
And perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys, here we are. So here's the deal. Got another Just the Tip segment for you, and today we are digging into one of the toughest winter skills for freshwater anglers. It's slowing down, but without losing your mind out there. The season's cooling, the bait's grouping up, and across most of the country, fish are easing into that slow, methodical winter rhythm. But slowing down doesn't have to feel boring, not if you do it right. Now, why slowing down is important and why it matters everywhere. As water temps start to slide down into the 40s or even the 50s or as low as the 30s, and that's going to vary, that temp range, it's going to vary on your region and where you are. Bass are going to react differently, but generally, a bass's metabolism is going to slow way down with that temperature decrease. Their strike windows shrink. They still feed. They just won't run a marathon in order to get a bite of food. But how you slow down varies depending on where you fish. Let's break it down a little bit by region. So if you're looking at like the Northeast and the upper Midwest, and Great Lakes, New England, New York, Pennsylvania area, water's getting cold and it's getting cold really fast. These fish are going to glue down to deeper rock piles. They're going to be in channels. They're going to be up against steep breaks and whatever remaining green vegetation you've got. And what does slow mean in that situation? Well, it means like like, a 5 to 15 second pause on a jerkbait. It means dragging a football jig around like you've had one too many Thanksgiving leftovers. It means subtle blade bait hops, not ripping, just kind of trembling. One way that you can keep well engaged while you're doing this, though, is to use bottom composition as your mini game. Feel for transitions. Try to feel for pea gravel, chunk rock, or isolated boulders that you might hit along the way. When you know exactly what your bait is touching, every cast becomes a little mini mission. And in the Southeast, we're talking Carolinas, Georgia, the Florida Panhandle, East Tennessee. You can still power fish this stuff sometimes, but the windows are going to shrink. So cold snaps are going to be the killer for the most part. Fish are going to slide into channels. They're going to be associating with docks with sun exposure. They're going to be tied up on deeper brush, on clay banks that are going to hold heat too. And what slow means when you're in that part of the country, it's long pauses on soft plastics that are under docks, slow rolling a small swim bait, dragging a Carolina rig at a snail's pace, or dead sticking flukes or Senkos in clear water. Way to keep engaged is, rotate your targets, not techniques. Fish 3 to 5 different high percentage spots thoroughly instead of running around the whole lake. And when we're talking about the central Midwest reservoir part of the country, like Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Iowa, and even Ohio, these bass are going to slide into their winter spots. It's going to be your creek channel swings, bluff walls, standing timber is going to hold them, and deep brush piles as well. And when you're in this part of the country here, slow means hovering, finesse baits over timber, letting a jig sit for 5 or 10 seconds between dragging it. Very subtle lifts and drops with spoons or blade baits. And a good way to keep engaged is to use your electronics like a video game. Most winter fish are in these reservoirs. They're going to suspend. Tracking them on sonar gives you something to focus on instead of just waiting around. If you're in the deep south, we're talking Texas here, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. The water cooling factor is going to be at a slower pace, but the post-front blues, that hits harder. Fish are going to bury in hydrilla edges, in brush, in creek channels, stump fields, and shallow lakes. And when you're talking slow in the deep south, we're talking about super slow rolling spinner baits around grass, letting a lipless crank settle into vegetation before you rip it out, and then dead sticking Texas rigs in timber. Engagement methods are using vegetation as your grid. Work 10 to 15 yard sections thoroughly before moving on. And this makes fishing slow feel like clearing sections in a search pattern. Out west, California reservoirs, desert lakes, the Pacific Northwest, the western waters there get clear and cold. So fish are going to slide up against deep rocks, long points, creek channels, and suspended schools that are near bait. And what slow is going to mean to you in this region is that your ultra finesse presentations, your 3 to 4 inch baits that are thrown on 6 to 8 pound line will be more effective. A 10 to 20 second pause on a jerkbait in super clear water can be an absolute killer. And then slow dragging a small football jig on deep structure, home run. Count rocks to stay engaged. Seriously, in reservoirs, your lure almost always is going to tell a story. Rock, 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 nothing, big chunk, pause. Rock, rock, then bang, thump. Waiting becomes reading. Now, some strategies that we can all look forward to across the entire country right here. Number one is the uncomfortable pause rule. When you feel the urge to move your bait, add a few more seconds. Your brain wants action. The bass want the opposite. Next up, let the lure dictate the pace. Use baits that naturally reward patience. So things like jigs, Ned rigs, blade baits, drop shots, suspending jerk baits. You can't fast fish these really without messing up. And then give every cast a bit of a mission. And this will work in every single state. Drag until you hit something. Pause at every single piece of hard bottom. Work the whole arc of a point. Feel for transitions. Engaged angling beats boredom every single time. So if you can keep yourself interested, you're going to help yourself be more effective when you have to slow down. And then sonar. That's your entertainment system. If you've got electronics, winter's when they're going to shine the most. There's always something to watch. Either bait balls, arc-shaped roamers that are out there, temp lines, the whole show. It's all there for you on your screen. Now let's talk some bait recommendations per region. Like in the Northeast and the Midwest, blade baits are a home run. You know, it's one that I've struggled with, and I hear it all the time. Blade baits are great. Hair jigs as well. Something I need to play around with a little bit more. But the one we're known for around here more than anything, I think, is the suspending jerk. You get into this time of year, and a suspending jerk bait is something that every single angler that you see is going to have tied on. You know, what jerk, what size? That's up to you. In the Southeast, slow-rolled swim baits, slow-rolled moving baits, finesse jigs, shaky heads, it'll get it done. Your Midwest reservoirs, there's where your spoons and your finesse plastics and jigs around timber are going to be great. In Texas, in the Deep South, lipless cranks, Carolina rigs, and grass edge swim baits are going to definitely pop for you. And out west, your finesse swim baits, your deep jigs, and jerk baits with really long pauses can pay off huge. So whatever you're fishing across the country, slowing down isn't about necessarily doing less. It's about doing more intentionally. Turn patience into a strategy and build confidence through small wins. And these cold water bites will feel even sweeter because you've really earned them.
Bobby, and who the fuck is Joe Brown? I got an FTG. The FTG is your boy NJ BFS Gang. I missed the interview this morning, overslept, had an alarm, hit snooze, got up an hour ago, now I'm heading to work. Didn't have time to fish. Got a little nice warm-ish morning with no wind. But yeah, I'm the FTG, guys. Sightlines.
So a little bit of backstory for that. Brandon and I were supposed to record the segment. It's on YouTube right now. And actually we just got a comment from Nate over at Pig Jigs on that video. But we were supposed to record, I think it was Tuesday morning, and my buddy Paul was like, I didn't realize that he wasn't working right now, all through chemo. So when I found that out, I was like, dude, we should just get together and go grab breakfast one of these days. And he's like, yeah, hell yeah, we should. So we hit this one spot, and I was like, I think we're going to be running a little bit late. So I sent Brandon a message, and I was like, hey man, can we bump like 30 minutes back? And I didn't hear anything from him. So I didn't hear anything again afterwards. And then it was like after the time we were supposed to record, and I got a DM from him. He's like, dude, I am so sorry. I woke up late, blah, blah, blah. I was like, don't worry about it, man. I was like, we can record tomorrow if that works for you. And he's like, hell yeah. But I totally understand, man. New baby in the house. Like, you got to sleep when you can. And I totally understand. So no worries there, dude, at all. Now, let's dive in, because I think this live well is going to be a lot of fun. There is some edumacation that is here. Yeah, this is really good, because I got thinking right away when I heard what one of our calls is referencing.
Hi there. Welcome to the Live Well, where we crack open a ramp beer and attempt to answer all of your burning questions.
Yep. Straight up in the live well, and here we are. And this is really good. We got 3 calls this week, and we're gonna dive into what I think is the meatiest one. And I did some research just for this, and I love this call. This is, of course, Eli. So we'll see what Eli has to say.
Hey, it's Eli for question for the live well. Heard this on the Tax Talk podcast and wanted to get your thoughts on this. But they were doing a hot topic show, or hot takes, I guess, and talking about how certain electronics are not included in the excise tax, the 10% tax all that money is used for Fish and Wildlife funds and to help all that stuff. But certain electronics like graphs and stuff like that are not included in that. What are your thoughts? Do you think that it should be? And the hot take that they had on the show was that all sales of those should be halted until it gets included in the excise tax. which I think would be an interesting take on that. But what are you guys' thoughts?
So I did some digging to get some information about it and
Yeah.
you know, let folks know, because a lot of people aren't even necessarily aware of this because it does kind of happen in the background. But this is for fishing and for hunting stuff as well. So I've got information there too. So this is the scoop. In the U.S., there is a federal excise tax that's on a lot of traditional hunting and fishing gear. It's the Pittman-Robertson Act for hunting gear, and I love this. The name of it's perfect. The
Dingell-Johnson Act
for fishing equipment. Both of these are essentially federal excise taxes in the U.S. that have been around for a long time. What they do is they put a small tax on things like firearms, ammo, fishing tackle, and the revenue essentially goes back into conservation programs, wildlife management, and even things like boat ramps. It's a nice little system that helps fund outdoor resources by basically reinvesting in the activities that people love to do. Traditionally, things like marine electronics, you know, regardless of what they are, you know, your 2D sonars, your side scan units, forward facing, whatever, they haven't been included under those old excise tax rules. The taxes were really more focused on things like rods, reels, tackle, and traditional gear. There's been a bit of debate, though, about whether maybe that should change in the future, since a lot of electronics are playing more of like a major role in the part of the sport and are definitely would contribute to the whole fishing ecosystem. Typically, the excise tax is more of a behind the scenes thing. It's usually built into the cost of the product at a manufacturer or importer level, which means by the time you're buying your rod or reel or whatever piece of equipment at the store, you're not going to see a separate line or item on your receipt that says federal excise tax or anything. It's just sort of baked into the overall price. At the same generally occurs for online sales too. If you're ordering from a U.S. retailer, it's already been factored in. So it's not like there's a sales tax where you're going to see it broken out on the receipt. It's all behind the curtain. So if you really do feel strongly about some of these electronics needing to be included, it's definitely something that you can advocate for. Usually that kind of change needs to happen through federal legislation. So getting in touch with either federal representatives like your members of Congress or senators and letting them know that, hey, you support adding these electronics into the existing excise tax framework is a good first step. And you can also work or join conservation groups and outdoor organizations that already have lobbying power. That moves a lot. Like if there's already people making waves, that helps. So groups like Ducks Unlimited, Trout Unlimited, and the American Sport Fishing Association often are going to have connections to push these kinds of policy ideas forward. In short, it's about using your voice, reaching out to the right representatives, and maybe teaming up with organizations that are already working on these issues. So with that said, just speaking for myself, I 100% think every single piece of fishing tackle, fishing equipment should be included. 100%, all of it. If it's related to fishing or marine use, I 100% think it should be included, you know? And as for like the hot take, like Eli said, like there should be a ban on purchasing. I don't think that gets shit done. I think you'd be better off having people flood a senator or congressman's voicemail with information to get things moved along. I don't think you're going to, you know, all you're going to do is you're going to impact the retailer. You're going to impact the manufacturer. They're not going to move units. And I get like, yeah, you were going to make some noise and people are going to realize that's what we want. But at the end of the day, like you're barking up the wrong tree. That's my thought. What do you think, Joe? I'm curious because you've got an interesting, and I was excited to ask you this because you've got an interesting perspective because you've been a fisherman, but you've also been a retailer in the past.
Yeah. So even like outside of that, like I don't think my viewpoint's kind of falls within those lines. But so here's why I do not believe that they should be included, or at least not yet.
Okay.
And here's why. So what you have to understand about that act is that money is collected by the IRS into a federal pot of money.
Yep.
Okay. And then that pot of money is dispersed equally to each state for the state to be able to disperse that money where so with me in my state, I'm not convinced that they are taking that money and using it appropriately. Seeing local boat ramps, seeing the kind of the way that some of the fisheries, the condition that they're in. In order for me to even like on a personal level, like consider this, I would have to see a list of projects. I would want to know, and you can get this information. I would want to know exactly how much money was given to Massachusetts and where that money was dispersed into the actual resource. Where I'm very like kind of like, not that I'm anti-tax, but I think we're taxed far too much as citizens, and I think money is wasted. And I personally don't think that this is any different. Here's the other thing: if we put a 10% tax onto all these electronics, these companies aren't going to add 10% to the price. They're going to add 20%.
They're going to gouge it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they are going to see it as an opportunity to make even more money.
Yeah.
They don't see it as like, oh, damn it. They see it as like, oh, hell yeah. This is an opportunity, like Bobby said, to gouge it. I, as a taxpayer, I feel as though I want to know where my tax money is going.
Yeah.
Again, I've fished a lot of states. I've seen states that are very obviously putting their money, whatever money they receive, to good use.
Yeah.
I don't think the state that I live in is one of them. And until I see that, I can't agree with any more taxes coming out of my. And granted, yes, it doesn't come directly out. It does come directly out of your pocket, like you said. This is
it gets built in.
This is done at the importer or the manufacturer.
Yep.
But you still pay for it in the end. So it's one of those things where you got to be careful. You got to be careful about asking for more taxes in our day and age with the way our government works, because they're gonna see you asking for an inch, but they're gonna take a mile.
That's fair. I do think Metal Zach says, he goes, I'm sure all the folks that purchase electronics are going to write in and say, yes, please add them. I want to pay more. What I think what it gets into is the fact that let me back up. I needed to do the research here because I wasn't sure if this was something that happened at the individual state level. Which if that were the case, I could 100% see your point, Joe, because then you're like, what are you actually doing with that money? It would be easier to track. The fact that it's a federal thing means that if those funds they might get divided up equally, but like, what is it actually being used for? And like, when you travel to a body of water that's got like a destination fishery, right? Like, use the St. Lawrence River as an example. You know what I mean? It's a destination fishery for a lot of folks.
Yep.
The facilities there are infinitely just going to be better. And around here, like, I think what ends up happening is like a lot of our shit goes to the saltwater community. I think that if you were to track it, like, that's where the big money is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And the usage.
Yep.
Like, we don't have a Lake Champlain in Massachusetts.
Right.
Right. So I think and it sucks for those states, but it's like at the same time, like, I think it's insane that these electronics companies there's money that's in the market, and it's not doing anything to help the overall resource. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand your point about like they're going to gouge it because, hey, dude, that's what fucking billionaires do. Like, that's not news.
Capitalism is.
That's not fucking news. 100%. Like, but at the same time, it's like, I think the thing, what would be most useful would be accountability of like where funds are going, Yep. And if you're going to take an additional, like, I think that Garmin, I think that Humminbird, I think all these companies, the trolling motors, all that shit, like, I can only assume that, like, if you buy a trolling motor, that your taxes aren't going to that. What if you buy an outboard?
So electric motors are included in that.
They are included. That's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. All right. Okay. That's kind of. On the segment that Eli was referring to, he was like, I think it's because they consider them to be GPS units, so they that's their loophole. But I don't know. I know I would feel better about being like, hey, I have to buy such and such, and you're going to fucking take my money anyway. Like, I'd rather it go to like a decent resource.
Yeah. And I will never talk politics on the show or anything, but I'm very like knowledgeable and about the way the government works and politics and stuff like that. And like this day and age and what I know, I'm never gonna volunteer to give up more tax money, only because I know that where they say it's going isn't actually where it's going.
Yeah.
So unless you can somehow prove it to me, which you'll never be able to do. I mean, and then take it a step further with a state here, Massachusetts, that we live in, knowing that they're in a $60 billion deficit and have absolutely fucked up the money in the last few years. Like I don't have the warm and fuzzies that they're going to do the right thing with the money.
Yeah.
They haven't. So that's just my quick take on it.
Yeah. Fair enough. So that's what you asked for, Eli. There you go. Now, this one's a bit interesting. This one comes from an angler out on the Cape. This is from Brian. And let's take a listen to what he's got for us.
Hey, Bobby and Joe. I just have a question for the live well. This is Brian again. I'm not going to get too crazy into anything, nothing about lunar calendars or whatever, but I'm an exclusive bank angler. I don't have a boat. I don't have space for a boat. I can't afford a boat. So if I'm going to get on, I'd have to, go with somebody who has one. So pretty much exclusively bank angling. How does that work as you get later into the season? Cause I'm pretty new to this, relatively, but I'm down closer to the Cape. So, nothing really freezes down here, but, what would you suggest I do if I want to continue fishing later into the season than most people would? Thanks. I appreciate the feedback.
It's a good one. I like this one.
This is a good one. Yep.
I do have a good answer for this, I think.
Okay. Go for it. I'll let you
want me to go first?
Yeah.
So again, the Cape doesn't freeze. However, being on the bank, it still might be difficult to kind of catch, especially if you're going for the bass, because they're going to tend to go a little bit deeper, which is going to be might be hard to get from the bank.
Yep.
However, if you're not sold on just fishing for bass, go to that moving water for those cold water species. The trout will still be biting. Bobby, the holy crap, drawing a blank here. The river.
Which there's a lot of
the trout river, like the big trout river, like the famous one up the road from me. Swift River.
Okay.
Holy crap. Yeah. I went full R word there. The Swift River is fished all year long.
Yeah.
All year long. People wade in that river all year long. Obviously, like Zach just said, you have to dress warm, dress appropriate. Especially if those banks are snowy, icy. Make sure you have good footwear that you're not going to slip in and get wet. But when it comes to actually catching fish, you be down the Cape, you have it a little better than us, more inland, to where you do keep the open water. Yep. So kind of look at those topo maps to see, find a body of water that might not have deep holes, and might. So you kind of might have a better chance from the bank, because like I said, those fish are going to tend to go deeper, looking for that thermocline and whatnot. But go to the moving water. Look for those cold water species. I'm sure there's opportunities for salt fishing as well that I can't sit here and talk to because I don't know goddamn shit about it.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, go catch some trout. Go catch some trout.
The thing is that, and we mentioned some of these things, in in the Just the Tip this week. So like a lot of the times this in up north here, you're going to find fish that are going to glue to like a deeper rock pile. You know, they're going to get stuck in channels, wherever you've got steep breaks. The one that I think is really important is if you can find a spot that's got green weeds, that's a home run. That's going to be helpful. Sure. A lot of that's going to be trial and error. And as a bank angler, like for sure, to look at topos, get an idea of like where you've got to go, but then pay attention to your access because that's going to be the trickiest part. So it might be like getting out on a point where there's a nice drop off and fooling around over there. I will say that it makes it really challenging to get out and just catch fish in general this time of year. Like there's a lot of struggle that goes on. Whenever I'm out in cold water, the number of catch or the likelihood of catches seems to drop off as opposed to other parts of the year. So I would say, Joe kind of nailed it. Look at some topo maps, figure out like some structure that looks good. Weigh that up against where you have access, or even just ignore the map as a whole and look at the areas around where you have access. Look for those steep drops and try to make bomb casts out there. If you're throwing, let's say you're throwing a drop shot or something, maybe increase your weight a little bit to give you a little bit more casting distance. That kind of thing can help a little bit, especially with like a bottom bait. You obviously don't want to trespass and get yourself into any kind of, bullshit. Moving water is another great idea. Stick to the rivers and stuff where you'll be able to access, maybe making a cast across the entire body and look on topo maps there to see if you can find some of the deeper holes, stuff like that. I would say it's just a challenge in general. What is Zach?
All water is fishable water if you're not a pussy.
Well, I'm trying to not.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke, everyone. Don't go start jumping fences and ripping down no trespassing signs. It's a joke.
I'm trying to say this because and there's going to be an episode of Jigs and Bigs and a video where I'm going to be doing the whole bank boat kayak discussion and like just getting real. And he makes a couple of good points. Like, I don't have space for a boat. I get that. I don't have space. He can't afford a boat. Totally get that. Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to look into like a float tube with waders, something like that, so that you can I am a big advocate for getting off the bank any way that you're able to make it happen. And by doing an inflatable, then you could potentially do something. Now, obviously you want to be safe. You don't want to go out to Walmart and pick up an inflatable raft that was meant for the pool and go in there and, you don't want to kill yourself, but going and considering some of the alternatives and, one of the things that comes to mind is I've seen people fish these. They would not be for me, but a fold up kayak. I've seen people do them. I've seen people fish the Swift River with them.
I saw my first one in person down at ICAST. They were out on the lake in front testing it out.
I mean, the inflatables that are out there for kayaks, legit fishing kayak inflatables, are so stupid light. You could easily move them in and out of your house. You're talking about a 12-foot inflatable, and this is the type of thing you inflate one time and you just regulate it. That's all you'd be doing, I would say, because then, it's one of those things where if you really are just I want to put myself where the fish are, when you are bank fishing, that is a challenge. And when people are out there, Dave Shade is a bank angler who just fucking kills it. Those are the types of dudes that I'm if you put him in a boat, everybody's fucked. Because you grant so much more access. But when you're talking about a time of year where this body of water, maybe it's set up in a way where, hey, that deepest, that steepest drop off or that rock pile is just too far to cast to. Or in order to be close enough to cast to it, you've got to be trespassing. Is it worth the legal troubles involved, or just the headache of dealing with, property owners or anything like that? Is it worth it? So it's just one of those things where if you have the access, I would fool around and try some of that stuff. And look at the spots where you're currently fishing, and maybe you look at 3 or 4 different spots that you fish regularly and you're like, you know what? This spot here is just so shallow. It's just a big flat. And there's like a lay down there. And maybe that's what produces normally. And that's not necessarily going to produce right here the way the rest of the body of water is set up.
Sure.
You know, you might want to make a decision to say, I'm not going to fish that body of water until it works for where I have access. Mm-hmm. Just, it is a challenge, Brian. And it's tough. It's really, really tough. I do like... So Zach says, number one tip, of course, dress warmly. And then he says, or dress hotly, depending on what you're trying to catch. Like if you're trying to catch the herp, that's a good way to do it. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Everybody fucking loves that shit. Man, that is rough. We got one more call to get to. This one, I think this one's fun. I think this next call is just a fun one.
Hey, it's Eli for a question for the live well. 2 weeks ago, I asked about a coffee question for camping. I figured I'd stick with that theme. And what is your top 3 go-to camping meals when you're out camping and stuff like that? And then also, how do you feel about all the freeze-dried meals that are being sold nowadays? Do you go that route, or do you just bring stuff and cook it? But
So as far as the freeze-dried meals, I'll knock this one right out. I think that they've come a long way. I definitely think they do. I have no enjoyment in making those, so I'm not going to like subscribe to them. If I'm using them, it's like as like a backup or time saving or something like that. So that is what it is. Now the top 3 for me really would be, I make some really good breakfast tacos. And like breakfast is good all day long. You know what I mean? Like I would make these any time of day. And what I generally do is I just make this big scramble in my cast iron. You know, potatoes, a bunch of vegetables, some kind of meat, sausage, Spam, bacon, whatever. A bunch of eggs, scramble all that together, melt some cheese on top. And in a cast iron, it's nice because it'll save the heat. So I take that, put it on a table, and let it sit. Let that cheese melt. Everything's good. And then I have this small cast griddle, and I've even done this just like on rocks, like on the fire. Take your corn tortillas, gotta be a corn tortilla, and then just heat them up there. Make your tacos. Everybody just goes in. You get 1 spoon, and you just like make them as you go. You get a bunch of people standing around this one cast iron pan, filling their face. These are so good. They'll feed an army, and they're cheap to make, and they're delicious. They're absolutely great. I would say my next one is I have this like riff on a pasta dish that I fucking love. Who's had it? Becca's had it. Janelle's had it. The Jabberhammer's had it. Has Mike had it? I don't think Benny has had this yet. So generally what I do there is I make this pasta and I use sausage, I use peppers, onions, some kale, I use white beans, a little bit of lemon, more lemon zest than anything else, and a little bit of white wine. And I just make this sauce. And what makes it great for camping is Barilla makes this pasta that is fully cooked in bag. And it's like 1 portion per bag. It's a good sized portion. So I'll take a couple of those bags if I'm camping with somebody else, and I'll just add them to the sauce and allow the sauce to finish the pasta, because they do it right. It's cooked pasta, but it's just cooked. Like it still needs a little bit to go. So like you would take this normally and like at home, throw it in the microwave for like a minute, 90 seconds, something like that. But I just open it up, pop it in the bag, or pop it into the pan with the sauce, heat everything through that way, hit it with some grated parm. Oh my God, it's out of this world. Out of this freaking world. And then for the last one, I have a dish that I like to make that is actually really easy. And it's called bangers and mash. It's an old English dish. And it's basically like whatever type of sausages you want to make. But if I can get them, I like to get the actual English or Irish bangers. They have they're a real mild sort of sausage, and you just grill those up as you want. Usually what I'll do is I'll start them in one pan, right? And I'll I'll brown them, and then I'll put them off to the side. And then I'll take and add some onions, and I'll start building a gravy there. right? So then what I'll do is I'll add onions, a little bit of butter or some oil, and then a little bit of flour to create a little bit of roux. And then I just use beer. I add beer, or you could use anything you want. And I'll add that and I'll season along the way. I'll have this really nice gravy going. And then I'll just put the sausages back in to let them finish cooking in the gravy. And then in another pot, what I'll do is I'll make mashed potatoes. But when I'm camping, they're instant mashed potatoes. The best way to improve on this is to take and make like a packet or two of mashed potatoes and then bake a potato at home before you go out, let it cool, right? And then just go and mash it, crush it, and then mix it in with that. It totally improves the flavor. My mouth is watering thinking about this. It is so fucking good. That I think is a big one. Obviously, I like making steaks. That's always a home run, stuff like that. But I would say that those three are probably like my top three. That noodle dish that I just made last night, that's another one that's great for camping because basically you just assemble everything in the pan and then you throw hot oil right on top of it. That cooks the sauce. You just have to boil the noodles. So it's pretty easy overall. I like to cook. That's not for everybody, but so yeah, hopefully that works, and everybody's happy with that. We're running low on time. We're right up to the minute right now. It is 11 o'clock as we go. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We will see you with more Jigs and Bigs goodness. Joe, you got anything you want to mention before we wrap things?
Nope, that's it, man. I'll see you guys next week.
I love it, dude. I freaking love it. Yeah, we will absolutely see you guys next week. We've got more Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up. And this is that time of year where we need you guys to share whatever fish picks you have because we're going to be celebrating the shit out of those this time of year because there are few and far between that we manage to get a tug, while we're out there on the water. Maybe at home it's a different situation, but hey, it is what it is. We will see you guys with more Jigs and Bigs goodness in 7 days. Don't go too far. Have a wonderful and very happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Don't be a moron. If you're drinking, don't drive. And we will see you in 7 days with more fun stuff here on Jigs and Bigs. Have yourselves a great one, everybody, and we will see you. Peace.
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.